There's so much joy. I think that is, that is what keep me moving. It's just because people loving it. But it's not only people loving it, people appreciate it when I said it's authentic.
If you think Ballarat in country Victoria and you think about a pie competition, what kind of pie do you reckon is going to win? Well, the pie that won was a babi pongte pie from Lilly Wright from Flying Chillies. The babi pongte pie is a pork and fermented soybean pie, perhaps something a little bit different for regional Victoria. We are going to find out all about that and much more from Lilly from Flying Chillies. Lilly, welcome.
Hi, Dani. Thanks so much for having me.
So good to have you on the show, and congratulations to everything that you've achieved so far with Flying Chillies. Tell us a bit about your business.
So, thank you, by the way. I started Flying Chilli actually in 2022. I think it was during COVID, I think by the end of the COVID, when I started the business by, selling a frozen meal, chili oil, and also a sambal in the jar. And, when I was selling the product was at my place where I work. And, it started like people liking it and people enjoying it. So, and I started stocking up to more shop around the town. And then during, I think, in March 2022, local Ballarat Farmers Market was inviting me to attend the stall, like farmers market stall during beginner festival. And I think that is when it all started. So selling a food from my culture, which is have a different ethnicity, such as, our best sellers is always char kway teow, nasi lemak, and we sell like a mee rebus, which is a noodle dishes, and also a Johor laksa, which from my hometown. And so after the market, it was like people raving about it. People was talking about it, and then people saying, they have a Malaysian food here in Ballarat where, the chef is Malaysian. So we sort of like, okay, it's a good feedback. And that is how it started actually.
Yeah, so good. And Flying Chillies is now a cafe, bricks and mortar cafe, isn't it?
Yes, correct. So we just opened the cafe actually last year in December.
Wow. And what's it like having, a place where people know they can come to get your food?
It feels amazing. I feel like when before we opened the cafe, we have a food truck, but when having that food truck for a year, feel like it's not really working because we still, running classes, like a cooking classes everywhere, and still doing the market. So, we don't have like permanent spot where I can just do everything at once. And then, that's why I was like, okay, we really need to have a permanent spot. And now, it's just such a good feeling when, everything is one place. So everyone can, sit down and enjoy the meals. It's just amazing feeling. And we even like open the cafe. We're not spending so much money as well, because we sort of like, we just use whatever we have. It's just the important part is just to have that permanent spot, and it feels amazing.
Oh, that's so great. What have been some of the challenges about opening a cafe? I can hear that, there are some things that are a lot easier. I can imagine you're sort of able to, your head isn't running around town thinking about, the market stall and the food truck and cooking classes all in different places. But what have been some of the challenges?
I think the first thing like I faced in the challenges when, the first time I moved to Ballarat, which is in 2018. And it's sort of like a cultural differences, and it's hard to find other people that from the same background. It's very lonely. That in the beginning it's very hard to get a friends. You don't know anybody. There is no family members. So I think that's the first thing that I feel like this is gonna be a very hard to living on. And the second thing, when you already sort of settle down, and then you try to like, it's very hard to find, a Malaysian or Indonesian food that's serving authenticity in Ballarat. So it's sort of okay. It's like limited access to your ingredients as well. So we sort of like we need to sourcing our ingredient, from Springvale normally, and we for that we need to travel to get the ingredients. And also, I feel like the market awareness. The first thing when I start the business is all about educating the local community about Malaysian and Indonesian cuisine, and it takes so much effort because people are not familiar with the meals. They're not familiar with the spiciness. They're not familiar with the ingredients. So it's all about educate them. Like we're not using spicy chili. We're using very mild chili that is not gonna burn anybody. So it's not yeah, lots of effort and and also like a courage to deliver something different to the community.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And it's interesting that you use that word courage because am I right in thinking that the first place you sold your products was at a Pot of Courage, a social enterprise that ran in Ballarat during COVID?
Yes, correct. So that's my first a place to work actually, because I sort of like when I moved to Ballarat, I start feeling like okay, what I'm gonna do in this town, and I sort of like okay, I think the idea is need to find somewhere where have a multicultural community and also probably serving community sort of like food. And so I found a Pot of Courage that time and looking for employees. So I think I'm sort of like working with them in the right time, in the right place as well. I gained lots of experience and skills, and then it's just been amazing that time. And then definitely without a Pot of Courage, the Flying Chilly, of course, it's not going to be here as well, because it's sort of like I learned so much from them.
Yeah. Well, I remember the podcast we had in some kind of lockdown, I can't remember, but with Cherie Pilkington, who founded a Pot of Courage in Ballarat. And I remember chatting to her. She was actually stuck in New Zealand. It was one of those times when you couldn't fly home. So her mother had died. She was in New Zealand. It was a very emotional period for her, of course. And yeah, she was tapping back into some of her Maori heritage, but also speaking to us about, this community of migrant women that she was fostering in Ballarat. So I'm sure she would be so proud of, and just, I guess, so grateful to have encountered you, Lilly, and to have been a part of your journey to other success.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love Cherie. I think as much I feel like I think she giving me a lots of opportunity, not only to work at the cafe, but opportunity to meet other community leaders, and a lots of people in city of Ballarat and everyone's that working in the councils. That I feel like knowing these people and getting that connection. I think with her is sort of like connecting that dot, and yeah, I've been very grateful. I feel like meeting her is just it meant to be, I guess.
Great. So, Lilly, in Malaysia, did you work in food, or was it only once you came to Australia that you thought of that as a possible career for yourself?
Yes, in Malaysia, working in banking industry. So yeah, so it's totally different. My family always have a catering business and restaurant business back in Malaysia, but I never thinking myself to basically working into sort of that environment, because I know how hard it's how hard my mom and my dad working when I'm growing up, because I'm like they will never want to do that. But when sort of you move to Melbourne that time in 2014, and it's sort of like I'm still working in banking industry that time, but along the side when I moved to Ballarat, I just miss so much, because it's just hard. So you just end up need to cook yourself, and you sort of like need to call your mom and getting all these right ingredients, and then the right cooking methods and everything. So it's sort of like that connect me back to the roots. So, and I was like, oh, maybe I just need to start this as a business. So that's how it started.
Oh, that's a great story. And how are your parents coping with your move into the food business?
Yeah, it's like, oh, welcome to the club. I think that's what she told me. Yeah, it's sort of like, I think my mom sort of very like guide me, from far away because in every dishes that we do in Flying Chilies is it's basically her recipe, and then she basically teach me a lot how to cook all these food properly because as you probably lots of people know that Malaysian and Indonesian food method is always take a long time, and then because they want to achieve a very, you know, very great, like very unique flavors for that. So I think she's I think she be proud. She proud because she's like, oh, you can do it. And people will love it. And then she will say, like, oh, is it Australian people eating your food? That is bizarre. So I was like, of course you love my food because you teach me better. Teach me good. So yeah, I think I can feel that she live very proud. In Malaysia.
Uh, that's so awesome. So, Lily, you talked about some of these conversations you need to have. You're always explaining about these dishes, about the flavors, what people can expect. I mean, tell me about some of the joyful experiences you've had when people have tried it and loved it.
Yes, there's so much joy. I think that is what keep me moving. It's just because people loving it, but it's not only people loving it. People appreciate it when I said it's authentic. People understand it's just it's different than the others. So I think the first thing I feel like always you want to exchange this cultural to the local community. So of course, it just sort of opened the door to the Ballarat community, sort of like understanding and sharing, the passion of the food. And I think as well, I'm always talking about the community, about the people because I love them so much. So it's all about the community connection. I think a lot of people saying like, using food will always connect people, and because we always talking about it, we always talking how to cook it, how to achieve the flavors and stuff like that. And also it just I think the main thing was the impact. And you know by doing the market and the cooking classes, we bring to the opportunity for Barat to experience that, and then to connect as well with other Malaysian and Indonesian people here in Ballarat. For example, like last year, we discovered actually Malaysian in Ballarat Association, where we probably have now about 31 family members that actually from Ballarat, sorry, actually from Melbourne. Sorry, so actually from Malaysia that living in Ballarat. So, so people by having this flying chili and people knowing that flying chili, the owners from Malaysia, and then people from Malaysia and Indonesia are gathering together, and then knowing, and this is the place where they can mingle as a family and sharing the foods. So, yeah.
Ah, I love that. I just love hearing the way that food connects people. That's so beautiful. And what about the pie competition and the Babi Pong Te pie? Like, it's a pie competition is such an Aussie thing. Like, was that a good way to reach out to people and encourage them to try some new flavors?
Yeah, just I'm really not expected to win, let alone to enter that competitions. So it's just very like because you're sort of very connected with the local council and everything, and everyone that working on that pie competition. People that behind the scenes, and then email me like, Lily, you wanna enter this competition? It was like, yeah, why not? I do something, and yeah, I start doing. It's like, oh, what flavor I wanna be, or I wanna doing it, I wanna show to people. So I was like, oh, maybe we start with the babi pongte pie and also the mapo tofu, and sort of like a random idea in my mind. Nothing, I didn't tasting it or whatever. So I'm like, I think, oh, the pork and the pie is gonna be, work perfectly together. So like, okay, I'm gonna enter two pie, and we see how it goes. So and then they have so many other, you know, basically a very experienced chef and restaurant and cafe that enter that competition. So I never thinking myself to win this competition, because I tell my husband like there's no way I'm going to win and compete with all these people. So yeah, I was just surprised that the Babi Ponte sort of win the judges' heart as well. And lots of people saying like, what make it so special? And I said, it's just pork fat make it taste good.
When in doubt, it's the fat. So, and you did a mapo tofu pie as well, hey?
Yeah.
Oh, because I'm excited about both, but mapo tofu is one of my all-time favorite dishes. So I would love to try that as well. There was a restaurant here called Superling in Carlton, which did a mapo tofu jaffle, and I very happily burned my mouth on that a few times. So yeah, a mapo tofu pie could be in my future as well. So, what do you think people should know about being a migrant woman running a food business in a regional town? What do you want people to know about your journey?
I think being the migrant woman that have their own business, even though small or big business, in Ballarat or in any other town, I think it's hard work, and then especially it require resilience and determinations, because I think I face a lot of language barrier, cultural differences, or basically overcome all these obstacles. And it takes a lot of work. And also being a migrant woman is lots of building the connection within the rural community, and then engaging with local farmer and local supplier, your customer, and you want to create sort of a sense of belonging into a small town you're living in. You want to get connected with as many as people that you can as well. And it's sort of like giving me a lot of empowerment as well, because running a food business is already hard enough, and then keep along to basically to pursue your passion here as well. It takes a lot of courage, I will say that. And yeah, I feel like I think being a migrant woman here as well, I've been as a role model to other people to, you don't need to, you can start your own business, or you can do anything that if you put your mind to it, everything is possible. That's what I can say.
Yeah, well, you're definitely proving that every day, but I hear you. It's definitely doesn't sound easy. One of the things I love about Malaysia is that there are so many different food influences from around the region. Tell us about some of the dishes from, I suppose, different cuisines or different heritages that you're showcasing at Flying Chillies.
Yeah, so we sort of like showcasing a lot of different ethnicity. For example, like in Malaysia we have about 13 states, and each state have their unique and unique flavors, unique dishes, and same with the Indonesian flavor as well. I can't remember how many states they have it, but we have about 134 different ethnicity. So it's sort of like I just don't want to show a normal meal. I just want to show a different type of meal that they probably never have it before. For example, like we always get used with curry laksa and everything. So I introduce them to a different type of laksa, which is like a Sarawak laksa or Johor laksa, which is a different state in Malaysia, and also a different type of food from Indonesian, like for example the nasi lewit, and a different type. There's so many dishes. Of like one time at a time, we're gonna show all the food, and that's why we want to rotate the food as well to make sure that people can discover and then enjoying it and then understand and yeah, learning and sharing as well.
Beautiful. Well, tell me the difference. I don't know what the difference is between a Sarawak laksa and a Johor laksa, so educate me, Lily.
Yeah. Okay. So Sarawak laksa. So basically, normal nyonya curry laksa is more to the broth is more very creamy with the coconut milk, with a lots of a prawn shell, oil, and all the spices. Sarawak laksa is more to in the middle, which is they are more creamy and also a sourness coming from the tamarind paste. And then they use lots of chicken and prawn broth as well. And Johor laksa, which is coming from my state where I'm living in. So Johor laksa using spaghetti noodles, and then the broth or the gravy is using mackerel fish with lots of other spices as well. And also, like for example, the Sarawak laksa, we're not using curry leaf. Like the Nyonya laksa, using a lots of curry leaf into their broth. And we have Kelantan laksa, which is the gravy more to fish and coconut cream broth as well. And I think that's all that I can thinking at the moment.
Well, Lily, we're going to have to stop this interview because I'm drooling too much. That just all sounds so delicious. Absolutely beautiful. But it sounds like so much work to create these soup bases from scratch. And yeah, I can see how much love and care you put into all of them. Such a pleasure to chat to you today. Is there anything else that you'd like to say, Lily?
I think it is. It's like thanks so much to listening to me. I think it's all about we try to support each other, and as a migrant-owned business, we try to support as well other small business and advocating, providing resources and support other peoples, and we hope that. By promoting the diversity and inclusion in the small town, that we can bring more people together and make Ballarat as place to visit as well. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for everything that you're doing. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you. I'm absolutely starving now, so it'll be a while before I try one of your laksas, but I'll definitely keep learning and enjoying about Malaysian and Indonesian food in the meantime. Thanks so much, Lily.
Thanks, Dani. Take care.
This is Dirty Linen, and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinen@deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta @dirtylinen podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.